What if the most underrated palm on the planet, ignored for decades, is quietly staging a massive comeback? And the secret to keeping it alive and thriving is something almost no one ever tells you about. The Phoenix Roebelenii, resilient, subtropical, and surprisingly forgiving, but only if you know when to prune it, how to fertilize it, and what not to do with those fallen fronds. Skip these steps and you'll watch a 20-year-old specimen decline right in your yard. I'm Nick Federoff, and this is how we keep things green. Hit like, subscribe, and let's keep this palm alive together. Let's get growing. Okay, you see this plant right here? This is called a Pygmy Date Palm, or Phoenix Roebelenii. Very popular plant in the 60s and 70s, and what ended up happening was that they were just kind of oversaturated in the marketplace. Now, it's not the end of the world when that happens. This just means that people kind of slow down in buying them, but right now there's a great surge on these particular plants. This one right here happens to be about 20 years old. It's not even a little bit older than that. What I really enjoy about this plant is that it has this weeping stature about it. It's the same type of weeping that you will see with their counterparts, or shall I say their cousins, the regular date palm. Now, these will get dates on them, but we don't cultivate it for the dates because there's very little meat on there and the pit is too big, so don't even bother messing with that. Just go down and get yourself some medjool dates and enjoy those. Oh, you know how I like my medjool dates? I like to put I like to take the pit out, and then you take a little bit of lemon pith and you put the lemon inside there. Absolutely perfect. Oh, I gotta tell you, it's an amazing thing to have. So this particular plant is native to Laos and China, and again, it was brought over here. Actually, was named after a German botanist, the Phoenix Roebelenii. Now, it grows in very small areas, and this is actually a very small area over here, which is kind of a cool thing. Takes very little care. This one does have a few problems on it, in that its leaves right here, these are kind of dying out because of the plant needs to be pruned down. So when it gets pruned down, those upper leaves will turn a darker green, but we are going to fertilize them. Now, that's the one thing that's really neat about palms. They don't like to be fertilized, so you don't have to do a whole bunch of fertilizing to it. I do know for a fact that this planter is typically a little too wet. So being that's a little bit too wet, that right there tells me that, oh my, we're going to have this discoloration going up. Now, like its counterpart or its cousin, the regular date palm, it does have these little, we'll call them spines right over here. These are softer, but over here they get a little thicker. Now, on the cousin, what's really interesting is that those spines are very thick and big, and they're designed that way intentionally because, we'll say, in the wild, when dates were originally created, what happened was that the animals would try to get to the dates. So when they end up trying to get to the dates, these spines were a defense mechanism so they can't get into the actual dates themselves. I mean, it's a beautiful thing when you think about it. It's just pretty awesome. But these are softer, so you have to worry about it. Again, we don't cultivate them for the dates anyhow, so it really doesn't matter. Now, I gotta tell you, I don't remember if I mentioned this or not, and if I did, I apologize, but I'm gonna do it again. Typically, when you go to your local nursery or garden center, you're gonna see that these things right here are multi-trunk. There's 3 trunks that go on these things. Now, that is not natural for the plant. That's something that we have done to the plant. And being that we done that to the plant, it just makes it a little different kind of a geometric look to it, which is pretty cool if you think about it. But they also look pretty awesome all by themselves as well. So remember, when you have 2 or 3 growing as a bunch, that's not natural for it. They actually take 3 different plants and they squeeze them all together, and then they end up growing. This right here is natural for it. Now, this right here is here at the thingsgreen.com botanical gardens, and the gardeners have been just chomping at the bit. When can we take and prune this thing? Well, we're going to do that right now. We're going to prune up this plant, and the reason why we're going to prune it is because it absolutely needs it. It's just that simple. If we were to actually look at the trunk over here, you're going to see that there's a couple of areas here where in its younger days it didn't get pruned as well as it should have, but regardless, that just happens. Now we do have our tools over here that we want to make sure that we have, and that would include things like gloves, safety first. We have goggles, regular goggles. We have goggles that are turned over glasses. We have ourselves a pair of loppers. These are the ones with the long handles over here. We have a couple of different types of secateurs or hand pruners. We have a tree saw, and we also have a tiny chainsaw. So the reason why I mention all this is that there's no right tool and there's no wrong tool to get this done. We just gotta get it done. That's what I want to say. So the first thing we're going to do to start with is we're going to get our hand pruners. We're going to see how difficult it is to prune off those fronds. Now, here's a little, let's do, like, I don't want to say a contest. Let's take a little guess, right? Here's a little quiz. Is it Fronds, F-O-R-N-S, or Fronds, F-R-O-N-D-S? What would these be called? Because they're not true leaves. You think we call them leaves, but they're not. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to prune. I'm going to start off with my hand pruners over here, but before I do, I want to make sure that they are sharp. So this is kind of a cool thing where there's a lot of different ways of sharpening, and this just happens to be one of them. It's a little gizmo that's made exactly for this. You just go over this 3-4 times like this. You do this with all your pruning, and you're going to be much more successful in what we're doing. And let's get a pair of glasses over there. Do I look stylish? Hey, you know what? It's really important to wear the goggles, and the reason for that is, I hate to say this, and I say it every time I prune. I was doing a TV show, and I got whacked in the eye and ended up having to go to the hospital and get my eyeballs all fixed. And now I go to an ophthalmologist once a year, which is a good thing. You get to check out your eyeballs. All right, anyway, so with these fronds right here, what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of go as close as we can, and, well, I just kind of want to clear it up for our purposes here. But did you see how easy that cut? That was really nice. It's nice and sharp. Good. Ooh, absolutely love that. So we're going to try to get in here as now, if we're gonna cut it long first, understand that you got to come back and prune even closer. You want to try to get these things pruned up inside of that plant as close as possible. Now, these right here do not compost down. Any kind of palm fronds or palm trunks, they're too pithy, and it takes way too long for them to break down. So we're still going to let them give them to the city, let them throw it away. Don't use them in your compost pile. That would be just a big mistake right there. Okay, so you have to get a little step ladder. Be careful if you are wobbly at all. Get a professional out here to this right here is where you're gonna see some potential seeds going on in here. It's really, really old. Anyway, all right, so I'll tell you what. Let's do the best that we can. We're gonna prune this thing, and let's put it in fast motion. Oh, wait a minute. I may change tools in between. I may end up going to the chainsaw or the other tools. So don't let that freak you out. Oh, you know, before we get on going, you know the thing about your chainsaw, you have to be careful about this, because when you're working with it, debris gets stuck inside here. It can overheat your saw. You have to make sure that you have oil inside of it, and you have to, on this particular one, you have to pump it inside so that the oil gets onto the chain, because you don't want it to get hot. It'll break on you, and again, more danger. This has this little safety thing over here. It's really kind of nifty little thing. All right, now let's do it. Okay, one of the things that we have to remember is that sometimes it's just brute strength. This older growth, some of it will actually pull off of the plant very easy. Let's go back. Now, the reason why some of this stuff is pulling off so easy, it's as if it's been there so long that it's kind of rotting out. And the higher stuff is not pulling off as easy, but the lower stuff is. Okay, so as you can tell, we did a great job over here. It's awesome. I'm really digging on this. I had a lot of fun doing it. As you can tell, as we were going through, I'm picking up the debris and chucking it just as it coming up. There's a company, young man that I came across, and what he does is that he comes to palm trees and he will actually shear all of this bumpy stuff off, and it really looks like, oh, getting all over the place. And it really looks like it's just really kind of cool. I don't know his name or anything like that. I've seen him at the home shows that I go to, but you may want to do the same thing. Wow. But yeah, you can shear this closer. If you don't want all that stuff on there, he actually uses a knife or some type of saw to do it. It's all handwork for him. Pretty interesting on how he does that. But anyway, what I want to do here on our last steps is to kind of look at the top over there. How many should we, could we, and would we take off? Well, we have brand new roast that's inside here. The way that it looks right now is probably just absolutely fine. However, if we don't want to have to come out here for, do any maintenance in 3 months or so, we can prune a few more of these off and it'll still be fine, because the plant grows from the center, goes up, and then arches out. I love doing this stuff. All right, there you have it. The Phoenix Roebelenii, the Pygmy Date Palm. This probably has another, maybe 10 years left in it, possibly, because they only live around 30, 40 years. Some of them have been known to live a little bit longer, others not as long. Again, it takes very little care. It's a subtropical type of plant. I already told you where it came from. You just saw that it has started in mine as its young after the here, so that does make a nice little center piece. I would imagine the only reason why we would want to get rid of it, it's never gonna fit the wire that's way up there. It's just not gonna happen. It'll get that big. That'll die before then. But yeah, when this plant was this small, just real up like this, we have these agapanthus that are 8 there. Sometimes the people here, they'll put flowers in or something like that to make it look a little bit better. But yeah. It's a really good plant. Oh, by the way, you could grow this in a pot container, or you could grow them or just in the ground, just like that. So there you got it. That is the Phoenix Roebelenii Pygmy Date Palm. Consider it for one of your future plants at your house or business.